Look at the screen right now. You might think you're choosing where to look, but long before you made a conscious decision, your brain's automatic processing systems had already taken the wheel. Amidst a sea of complex data, a sudden flash of color bypasses your conscious control entirely and drags your focus straight to it. Tech companies pour billions into tweaking the pixels on glass screens, operating under the assumption that a cleaner interface equals a better product. But they are designing for the wrong hardware. Cognitive scientist John Whalen argues that user experience doesn't happen on a screen at all. It happens inside the mind, driven by invisible cognitive processes. This diagram outlines Whalen's framework. Every seamless interaction is built from a biological symphony of distinct operations: wayfinding, decision-making, emotion, and language, all firing at the exact same moment. To see how this biological reality dictates how we use technology, we are going to isolate just two of these mental systems: the automatic mechanics of human vision and the highly abstract nature of our memory. If a product team builds software without understanding how the visual cortex and memory actually process information, their meticulously designed interface is functionally invisible to the person using it. We tend to believe we take in a web page the same way a camera takes a photograph, capturing the whole scene in high definition, equally clear from edge to edge. But eye tracking data shows something entirely different. Our vision is chaotic, darting rapidly in predictable layouts, like an F pattern, while completely ignoring massive chunks of the screen. This happens because of a strict biological limitation called foveal vision. Only a tiny 2-degree angle of your eyesight, about the width of your two thumbs held at arm's length, is actually in sharp, colorful focus. Try this right now. Stare fixedly at a single word in the center of your screen, and without moving your eyes, try to read the text sitting in the corners. You can't. Outside of that tiny focal point, your visual acuity drops off a cliff. Your brain is literally guessing what sits in your periphery, heavily blurring out the details. This image of the brain highlights how this data is split up inside your head. The visual qualities of an object travel along the what pathway, while spatial data travels completely separately along the where pathway. Because you are functionally blind to 98% of the screen at any given millisecond, your ability to rapidly navigate a website proves you aren't relying primarily on your eyes. You are relying on your memory. To compensate for our terrible visual acuity, the brain leans heavily on memory and semantics, the specific meanings we attach to objects. Picture a standard US penny in your head. You know the color, you know Lincoln is on it, and you know there is text, but try to place exactly where the date and the word liberty are located. Look at this grid of 12 altered pennies. Picking the real one takes mental effort because your brain discards high-resolution details. The correct one is in the top row. Your memory simply stores a stereotype of a copper coin. This is exactly what happens when you open an app on your phone. You aren't reading every word on the page. You are instantly pattern matching the layout against deep-seated stereotypes of how you expect a digital service to look. If a designer gets clever and hides a search bar in the bottom left corner instead of the top right where your abstract memory assumes it will be, your mental model breaks. You have to stop, focus, and consciously search. An intuitive interface doesn't require a person to learn a new layout. It simply aligns with the abstract patterns already sitting in their head. For developers and designers building out the digital world, this cognitive science dictates a highly deliberate approach to product creation. You have to stop fighting the brain's automatic shortcuts and start harnessing them. That begins with semantics. You must use the exact terminology and symbolic concepts that your specific audience already associates with the task they are trying to accomplish. Once those expectations are set, you trigger a mechanism called visual pop-out. This diagram demonstrates how specific outliers instantly grab attention. By adding a heavy weight, shifting the orientation, or dropping a red block into a grid, you effortlessly guide vision straight to the target. When you combine the correct semantic expectations with targeted visual pop-outs, you remove friction. You get the user's mental effort entirely for free. Great design doesn't force a user to figure out what's on the screen. It confirms the mental predictions their brain has already made. Subscribe for more deep dives into the science of modern technology.